had to guess the most successful airliner in the world right now, you might think of the Boeing 737, or maybe even the Airbus A320. But actually, it's the Airbus A321 that's quietly taken over the skies. It wasn't always like this. In fact, when the A321 first rolled out in 1994, it was kind of the awkward middle child of the A320 family, too big for some routes, not quite long-haul ready. But today, it's the aircraft airlines can't get enough of. So how did the A321 go from an underdog to the undisputed champion of commercial aviation? Let's find out. Chapter 1. The humble beginnings of the A321. The Airbus A321 made its debut in 1994 as a simple stretch of the A320. It had more seats, a longer fuselage, and a slightly different wing. But it didn't exactly fly off the shelves. Airlines were happy with the A320, and Boeing's 757 was already dominating the mid-range, high-capacity market. The A321 had its place, but it was never the star of the show. Airbus kept refining it, though. The original A321-100 had a range of about 2,300 nautical miles, 4,300 kilometers, which was fine for European and domestic U.S. routes, but not much else. Then came the A321-200 with an increased maximum takeoff weight MTOW and fuel capacity, pushing its range up to around 3,200 nautical miles, 5,950 kilometers. That made it more appealing, but it was still just one option among many. Chapter 2. The Game Changer, A321neo. Fast forward to 2010, and Airbus dropped a game changer, the A320neo family. The Neo, or new engine option, promised a 15 to 20% reduction in fuel burn thanks to more efficient engines, either the Pratt & Whitney PW1100G or the CFM LEAP 1.A. Airlines loved it. And the A321neo? Well, it suddenly had the range and efficiency to challenge much bigger aircraft. The A321neo could fly up to 4,000 nautical miles, or 7,400 kilometers, making transatlantic routes a real possibility. It also seated around 240 passengers in a high-density layout, making it a money-making machine for airlines. Low-cost carriers like Wizz Air, Frontier, and Spirit gravitated towards it, while full-service airlines saw its potential for operating thinner, long-haul routes. Chapter 3. The LR and XLR revolution. Airbus wasn't done yet. In 2018, they launched the A321LR long range, pushing the range to 4,600 nautical miles, 8,500 kilometers. This was the moment airlines really started paying attention. Suddenly, the A321 could fly routes like New York to Dublin or London to the Middle East without needing a wide-body. Airlines like TAP, Aer Lingus, and JetBlue instantly saw the potential in using it on routes across the Atlantic, linking Europe with North and South America. But then came the real showstopper, the A321 extra long range, known as the XLR. With a range of up to 4,700 nautical miles or 8,700 kilometers, the XLR opened up even longer routes, think New York to Rome or Sydney to Bali, at a fraction of the cost of a wide-body. The first A321 XLRs entered service in 2024 with Iberia and Aer Lingus, and by 2025, they're already proving their worth. Airlines are loving the efficiency, passengers are getting more direct flights, and the aviation industry is taking notice. Chapter 4. Boeing stumbles and the A321's rise. Another key factor in the A321's dominance, Boeing struggles. The 757, which once ruled the mid-market segment, saw production cease in 2004 with no direct replacement. Boeing banked on the 737 MAX as its future all-rounder, narrow-body for short and medium-haul routes, but after its grounding and PR nightmare following 2 fatal crashes, airlines started looking elsewhere. And what they found was the A320neo family, and A321neo in particular, which was not only available, but also delivered better range, lower fuel burn, and a modern passenger experience. Even now, Boeing's answer, the so-called new midsize aircraft, is stuck in development limbo, leaving the A321neo with little competition. The 737 MAX 10, which is expected to enter service in late 2026, is the closest competitor in terms of size, but lacks in its range compared to the A321's LR and XLR models. Airlines have responded by placing massive orders, with Airbus racking up over 7,000 A321neo orders to date. So what's next for the A321? Airbus is ramping up production to meet demand, and new operators are coming on board all the time. The A321XLR is proving itself on long-haul routes, with airlines like Aer Lingus, Iberia, American, and Qantas having introduced it. JetBlue and United are set to receive their first jet soon. There's even speculation about an A322 development, which would see a further stretch of the A321 with even more seats and range. With sustainability in mind, Airbus is also exploring hydrogen and hybrid propulsion concepts, and the A321 could be part of that evolution. But for now, the A321 has cemented its place as the world's most popular airliner. Not bad for an aircraft that once struggled to find its place in the market. So, next time you step on a narrow-body plane for a transatlantic or long-haul flight, take a look around. It's probably an A321. Let me know in the comments if you've flown on one and what you think of it. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of aviation. It really does help us to keep producing great aviation content for you.